Well, it was bound to happen eventually. I just didn't think we were going to get it until to be honest, I didn't think this would happen until we hit part 1 of the final duel. I am going to probably have one of the most controversial opinions of the ceremonial duel I think ever, but we'll get there when we get there, obviously. Not that I'm a not that I'm a not that I am used to having opinions that differ from the norm. I mean, I'm the one who thinks the rooftop duel at Duelist Kingdom is hot fucking garbage. So shrug. And I don't think Clash of the Colosseum is peak Yu-Gi-Oh. So there's that. So here's another example of an episode that I don't think is that great. This was a C rank episode, and the preference point was actually given to the dub this time. Dead serious. It was the dub that got it this time. Because I actually think the time rewind thing works better in the dub because it actually hints at, well, the very nature of this shadow game. Instead of, Bandit King Bakura being a separate entity from Yami Bakura, well, yeah. Now, what's funny is that we're going to heavily imply that in a different way later, but we'll leave that for then, you know? But we'll leave that for then. So, but we'll leave that for then, of course. Ugh. So, the battle between Atem and Yami Bakura here it continues. Akhenaten has officially off the evil end. It has gone off the deep end now. How he is descended to the dark side. He's evil now. Oh, the end. He's even gonna. I don't think it's any mystery now that the creepy mask dude from the overlap opening is him. I don't think I'm really spoiling anything by saying that. And I mean, he's got the Millennium Eye, and now Akhenaten's working for Bakura, so duh. At this point, you know. So they fight. Akhenaten weakens Slifer, which allows Slifer to get blasted. That's when the gang shows up. Yugi is able to revitalize Atem, which I actually really do like. Like I kind of like that, which is funny because in the dub, Uh, in both versions, Bakura is like, "How the hell are they there?" Which also doesn't make the "they're separate entities" thing make any sense. But let's not get into that. But let's not get into that until we reveal that. Um, the so and I actually like that in the dub. Bakura is like, "Those meddling kids. It's revitalized the pharaoh." So Atem summons Ra, uh, and crushes Diabound pretty much effortlessly. Like even Thunder Force doesn't work because Seto deflects the blast. I actually like that. I like that because he didn't stop the blast; he just deflected it. He just changed its trajectory, which is actually awesome. Awesome, awesome, right? And of course, Raw then incinerates Diabound, which is awesome. And then time rewinds. Now in the sub, it just happens. There's no hinting that Yami Bakura did something. In fact, Bandit King Bakura even says flat out. It even says flat out. It's like it even says flat out. Oh, it must have been a mercy from the gods. Which is stupid. Which is really fucking stupid because you're basically claiming that it's a Deus Ex Machina at that point. Not a fan of that idea, in case you can't tell. So, yeah, wasn't a fan of that shit. It wasn't a fan of that shit. So, so Yami Bakura reverses time, and then so Atem gets sent down into the canyon because he doesn't get revitalized this time because the gang don't catch up to him in time. Um, Tristan goes to get some payback on Yami Bakura and punches him. That was a mistake. We'll touch on that when that comes up. Just keep it in the back of your mind for now. Just keep it in the back of your mind for now. You know, uh, which is funny because there's actually a mistake made in the dub. He says, "Okay, now I have 5 items to acquire." I hate to point this out, Bakura, but you actually need 4 items. Because remember, you have the eye right now. Technically, you actually technically have the Millennium Eye right now because Akhenaten is under your control. So it's literally 4 that you need to acquire. Here, the key, which is, of course, in case you're not keeping track, the key, the the key, the scales, the necklace, and the rod. Yeah, the key, the scales, the necklace, the rod. Those are the 4 that he still needs. Thankfully, this is a shonen show, so there shouldn't be anything too bad. Thankfully, this isn't Sword Art Online, so the way he gets the necklace isn't going to be any kind of ridiculousness and any kind of awfulness. So then the gang are basically like, oh crap, he lost a shadow game. That means he's gone. I do like Yugi's logic though, because they're in the world of the Pharaoh's memories. That means he's not dead yet. Now, what's funny is that they say he lost the shadow game in both versions, but here's the thing: he didn't actually lose the shadow game, not yet. He technically is still standing as of right now. He's still standing, and in you could, to use the subs terms, he still has some ba left. So there's that. That. Meanwhile, Seto is frantically trying to find him. I don't care if you have to drain the River Nile, find him. So that's cool. Akhenaten then kidnaps Kisara, and leads her to the subterranean battleground. And this is where we find out that Akhenaten is effectively trying to give Seto an army. He is, for all intents and purposes, trying to craft an army for Seto so that he can rule on high as Pharaoh. Seto, for the record, does not want to be Pharaoh right now, but Akhenaten wants him to take over the throne. It's an interesting contrast, and one that I wish they kind of expanded upon, but from memory, they do not. So they're getting goons to fight each other. Uh, Kisara was innocent the whole time, and that is what Seto in both versions has a problem with. What Pre-Seto has a problem with in both versions. Which is funny because Kaiba hasn't even shown up yet. Again, literally the last time we saw Kaiba was when he started heading to Egypt. Which was, when the heck was that? Yeah, that was in the Intruder Part 1. And that happened. Right? So we haven't seen him for a few episodes. It's, we saw him in Meet Bandit King Bakura, and then we didn't see him in Maha's Determination. We didn't see him in Battle to the Death. We didn't see him in Blue Eyed Kisara. We didn't see him him in Secret of the Millennium Items creation, and we don't see him here in Time Rewinds. I don't know if we're going to see him in the next episode. I guess I'll find out, after I chop this off. But yeah. So Seto is aghast at all of this. He's really Akhenaten is completely off the deeper end. And the episode ends with Kisara being forced into the arena to fight off of asshole 1 and asshole 2. They literally don't have names. They're just random criminals. I've got nothing. I gotta say, I know I'm basically blasting through this, but there's not a lot for me to say. This is a fight episode. This episode is literally all just a fight. I don't like I don't like the time rewind thing. I don't. I don't. I would prefer it if Yami Bakura just barely survived. You know, barely survived. He got away. I know that would basically be us repeating the same damn plot point from it, his battle with Mahad, but the same point would be gotten across us. He's not easy to kill. Hell, you could even play it up that you could even have it do the whole doppelganger thing, where it's like there was actually two Diabounds, and so effectively he resurrects Diabound, right? Instead of this let's rewind time thing out of frickin' nowhere, let's actually work on this. So, shrug, I guess. As although good on Bakura for recognizing that the gang do actually matter at her, and that Atem would have lost because of his future knowledge had the gang not shown up. So I gotta give him some credit for that. I kind of wish. I kind of wish that Yami Bakura was just actually gone at this point, and so effectively Akhenaten becomes the new villain for a while until he shows back up. You know, I think that just would have worked better. Have this be the end, and then have us wonder if Yami Bakura is still around, and then during Village of Vengeance, when we get the big reveal, the big reveal of the nature of this shadow game in general, that's when the rug can be pulled out from under you, right? But I digress. But yeah, that's all I've got. Short one yet again this week, but again, it's a battle episode, so really there's nothing for me to say. We can't even really get into the very nature of Kisara and her power until literally next episode. Until the literal next episode. But I digress. I suppose the only thing left to say is that this is just an okay episode. There's nothing great about this episode, but there's nothing really bad about this episode either. And I'm struggling for things to talk about, which is hilarious because that's kind of middling episodes in a nutshell. Like, for example, if I was to ever talk about Fairy Tale, well, what the hell would I even say about individual episodes, right? Episodes that are like literally just a fight. Well, I would have to talk about the trajectory of the fight and whether or not I think the fight is good. The fight here is okay. There's nothing really great about the fight, but there's nothing really terrible about the fight either. Right? Yugi is on the back foot. Atem is on the back foot until Yugi shows up, and then he wins. But then Yamabukura cheats with a Deus Ex Machina, and then he gains the upper hand. you know, which is funny because apparently Yamabukura has a few other cheat codes that he can frickin' utilize. But let's not get into that. All right, so I guess that's it. Man, I think the only thing else that I can talk about now is the fact that we have got 17 episodes left. That we're now at 17 episodes left of the whole arc. That's an interesting thought. Being 17 episodes in, we are being having 17 episodes left, with a guarantee with 14 of those. We've literally only got 3 standalone episodes left. This one, or wait, well, wait, hang on. So, search for the king, name of the king, and that other one. No, it's 13. Yeah, it's 13. So 4. Sorry, I'm wrong. 4 standalone episodes left because I actually miscounted. I thought it was 2 5-parters. No, it's 2 4-parters and then a 5-parter. So it's actually I've been saying it wrong this whole time. 13 episodes are going to be eaten up by 3 episodes. I'm terrible. Whatever. Regardless of any of that, though. Regardless of any of that, though. Yeah, no, it's we're getting close to the climax of the arc. And I got to admit, the midpoint of this arc has been tanking so far. The first 5 episodes were fantastic of this arc, like straight up, up here, right. Ultimate Game was an A, hey, right. Dark Bakura on the Move was an A. Hey, yes, I'm using I'm using the title from the version that won. Give me a break. Memoirs of the Pharaoh Arrow was a B. It was a B rank. Uh, sorry, Door of Memories opens was a B rank. Hank. Meet Bandit King Bakura and Maha's Determination was an A rank. Were both A rank episodes. Those, and then of course Battle to the Death Mahad versus Bakura was an S rank. But the last few episodes have been kind of tanking. I mean, Blue Eyed Kisara was D. The Secret of the Millennium Items creation was a B, mostly just because of the lore implications. And then Time Rewinds is a C because it's just not that good. Good. So, yeah, the first 6 episodes of this arc were fantastic. And now here we are. And we've kind of had not so great episodes up to this point. We've had like a total of like 9 episodes. 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, this is the 9th episode of the arc, and it's been kind of not great. Kind of not great. Hey, the past few episodes, it's well, with the one exception, you know. So, like literally of the past 3 episodes, only one got above a C. That's kind of a lull, I would argue. Will this turn around? I have no idea, but next up, well, the gang get introduced to Mana, who can apparently see them because what the fuck is consistency at this point? Blue Wolf Alex the Lore Walker signing out. Have a good one. Stay tuned.